Do it.
Let's do it, man.
Welcome, Lee and David, to the first show. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks for having us, man.
So I thought as a first up question, a very, very funny way to start. I'm clearly the highest level belt, one stripe white belt, so I don't have to correct you guys at all, but who's better out of you two?
It's the same. We always battle, and I think it's always the same thing. One day, Lee will destroy me, and the next day, I'll catch him, and the next day he'll destroy me again. And it's back and forth, and I think it's just always been like that. Except for the start, he used to mess me up.
No. He always taps me out.
No, at the start when we first started training, Lee would just obliterate me pretty much all the time, and it was really funny because we did this comp, and Lee must have scored like 15 or 20 points on me. I don't know. He like passed my guard. He like mount me. I think he took my bag. Like just completely destroyed me. And at the end of the match, the ref just like raises my hand and I won. And neither of us knew the ruls.
So it kind of like broke me mentally after that. So after that, I was just like, nah, I can't beat him.
Now I'm in his head. That day put me in his head.
No matter what I do.
And we're both kind of like, I'm like, oh, I won. And he's like, oh, I lost. no one really knows what's going on. But it was very funny.
So do you have a preference of gi or no gi? Either of you? Because predominantly most of our stuff's all gi.
Look, I like both, but I just train more in the gi. I just think I just find it more fun. That's all. There's more things to do and it's more creative.
Yeah, much of them the same, man.
I enjoy both. I think it's whatever you do more, you start to like, or whatever you get better at. So if someone likes no gi more, they're probably better at no gi, and vice versa.
Yeah. I think you go through phases. I know I was like, sometimes I loved the gi, and then other times I was like, I just want to do no gi, and just kind of bounce between them. These days do more gi, but I don't know. I can't tell you why. Like for the most part, I just enjoy it. And the team seems to enjoy it, so it just kind of lends to doing more gi, and
it's warmer in winter.
It's definitely warmer. Winter, it's nicer to do gi. But no, man, I think you just go through different phases, and sometimes I still try and like do all the no gi stuff and do all that. But yeah, for whatever reason, gi just seems to happen more. So neither here nor there.
Do you get guys coming in the club specifically for no gi, or specifically for gi and blasting the no gi?
People usually, you kind of get two groups, maybe like guys who have no idea what they're really getting into. They're like, they've listened to Joe Rogan or something, and they're like, man, I just want to do some jiu-jitsu. He talks about this thing. It sounds awesome. And you get those guys who just come in and like just want to train. You get, actually it's probably three groups. Then you get the guys that they've read about jiu-jitsu and they just want to do some kind of martial arts and they just want to come in and do something. They don't really care like what it is. And then of course you usually get like maybe some experienced guys who have done some training before, and usually they know what they want. They're like, I really want to do gi, I really want to do no gi, and they're kind of a bit more picky. And if they show up and they usually know what they want. But for the other kind of groups, they don't really care. Like they just want to do jiu-jitsu.
That's right. So how'd you guys start? I think I read that Dave, you liked the UFC one, and Lee did a fair bit of martial arts all around.
Yeah, so I started off with all the normal martial arts, looking through the yellow pages back then when I was a kid. So you'd end up looking up karate and kung fu. I'd end up doing them. And one day it's just like, I don't think this is real. And then I just ended up going up to Dominance in Richmond, and they seemed like they were going hard, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Watch the UFC, obviously. I think it was Tito Ortiz back then, smashing everyone, and Matt Hughes, and they like down the bottom of the screen it says what they do, jiu-jitsu. I was like, jiu-jitsu, what is this? I need to find out what this is. Yeah, so went down there, started training, and ran into this guy. So.
It's so funny you chose like Matt Hughes and Tito Ortiz with me. It was like Hoist or something. Like,
I remember like when we first versed each other in training, we're like, oh, you're pretty good too. Obviously, we're just white belts. We're like really bad, but
But you learn like an armbar or something cool. You tap some other guy and you're like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, You're like, you don't realize, but you're like, I'm pretty good. And you G up.
Like even at white belts, it'd normally be just the big guys that would beat you, or the higher rank guys. But then you get someone, would be similar size. I was probably bigger than him back then because I don't think he finished growing. And then you like look at each other. Oh, you're pretty good.
Huh. Yeah, it is like, oh, you're firing up. Oh, yeah, you're fighting me. Oh, it is like that. It is like that. Yeah, it's the same thing, man. Like I think it's that I wanted to do martial arts. I did karate when I was little, and I didn't like it. I actually found my old karate certificate from like 1999 the other day. But I didn't like it. I was too young to tell you why. I just probably didn't like being told what to do and doing push-ups and stuff. But the other thing is like I wanted to do something. Found like typical kind of nerdy style, like go on the internet and read forums and like what's good and I don't and everyone kind of throws in their thing like they know what's up, and found this thing UFC and learn about like hoist grades and jiu-jitsu. I was like, oh, this thing sounds awesome. Like little guy, hey, I'm a little guy, like I want to beat big guys. That sounds cool. And yeah, just like kind of one thing led to the other. I did my very first jiu-jitsu class. Not at Dominance. I did my very first jiu-jitsu class at Ground Zero in the city with Rob Williams. And I must have been 16, I think, maybe, when I did my very first jiu-jitsu class. And I remember the marketing that they would do. It was like the only jiu-jitsu, kind of one of the very few jiu-jitsu. I lived in the city at the time. But the marketing was like, if you can last... And I can't remember the number, right? I'll pick it up. I was like, if you can last 3 minutes, you get like a month free or something. It was something like that, right?
I'm doing that.
No, I didn't take Rob up on the offer because he was a beast, but it was just very like that was the kind of marketing that was being done around jiu-jitsu at the time, which is pretty funny. And I kind of did it for probably a month, did a competition, and then just kind of never went back because VCE started, and then kind of bounced around a little bit once ended up at Dominance. And it was the same thing. These guys like, man, these guys like training awesome. I actually went to Dominance before it was, because we met on, what's that road? Is that Bridge Road? Yeah, it's Bridge Road. Bridge Road. Yeah. At the Bridge Road Dominance. And I actually went there to check it out when they were on Swan Street, which is a room probably like, man, it's like this size.
Tiny.
It was nasty, and I went up there, and there's like all these people rolling, and just kind of sat in like a little chair kind of thing on the side, and it smelled bad. It was like, oh, nah. But people are like, oh, have a look and stuff. And you're like, yeah, it's cool, but in your mind you're thinking, nah, this is not cool. And so I left that and just kind of didn't go back, and then I ended up going back, not even realizing until much later that Dominance was on Bridge. That it was the same place, right? But it was on Bridge Road, and man, the second did the class, I was like, sign me up. I didn't even ask what the price was. I don't remember asking any of the info. I was like, man, I want to do it. Like, let's go. This is awesome.
Is that keen you signed up?
Yeah, I think that was the same with me. Like, I remember it came time to roll, and they said, "You sure you want to do the roll?" I said, "Yeah, that's what I'm here for." Then afterwards, I had to force sign myself up. Like there was no like sales thing there. I was like, well, how do I do more? Like, what do I pay? What do I do? I just looked around. Everyone else is doing it. Surely I can afford it as well. And yeah,
that's how it started.
Yeah, I don't see anyone as too keen nowadays.
You don't get many people like that. It's pretty rare that someone just comes in, right? And they're like, and I want to do jiu-jitsu, sign me up. I mean, it happens like every now and then. And you're like, yeah, awesome, let's go. But yeah, a lot of people are kind of like, always like, and like, yeah, I'll think about it. And, people just disappear and life gets in the way, and that's cool. But I think, but usually people who come in are like, yeah, man, like that group that comes in, like they know what they want. They're like, they're always super, super keen, obviously.
And with jiu-jitsu, like something like that, it's not something you normally put a lot of thought into it before you come in and you want to do something like that, whether it's self-defense or whatever it is, fitness. But I feel like you'd give it more thought before coming in and doing such a kind of like a hard discipline.
It's a weird thing to pick, right? Like I've always found it weird. Like when people call up, and people call up to inquire. It's like I always ask them, like, why'd you choose jiu-jitsu? Like, what made you pick jiu-jitsu? Like, I want to know, like, what did you pick jiu-jitsu out of everything that you could have done?
I thought it was UFC. It was Conor McGregor and Ronda Rousey. I never really liked boxing, never really liked Muay Thai, but I did Muay Thai first because I wasn't sure if jiu-jitsu was right, even though I loved the wrestling side. I loved mucking around with my brother when we were younger and playing football and mucking around that way. Yeah. Did Muay Thai, didn't like the the same shit all the time. I thought I've got to do something different. Did jiu-jitsu once and I've gone, I'm hooked. I'm on.
Yeah. What was it about that like hooked you though? Like
The feeling like I was wrestling my brother.
And how did you find out about immersion?
How did I find
That's a funny story. Tell that one.
I haven't heard the story. Tell me the story.
No, I haven't heard the full story.
There's a parts to this story, is there?
I don't know. You tell me.
I was at a previous gym in Bayswater, XFC, and it was going okay. There was 2 parts. I was doing my Muay Thai training. Didn't really like the jiu-jitsu training there. The kids, more so, didn't really have any development in their jiu-jitsu training. They didn't have a specific jiu-jitsu coach. It didn't look like they were progressing. There was a year's training with Taylor, and whilst we had challenges with her autism ADHD, there wasn't any progression on the kids' side. I think it was breaking guard, getting back out. There might have been a mount and holding their arms down, and that was about it. But it was a combination of jiu-jitsu and kickboxing for them. So I thought I need to find a place that's really, really good, and I knew about Glen Waverley. And if I go back 15 years ago when I was a personal trainer at Fitness First Noted, this might be the story that Lee's on about. I met Sarah there.
Yep.
Who's Sarah?
Who's Sarah?
Yeah,
My
who's
wife.
Nothing.
What are you doing with his wife?
Nothing. I was giving her some training advice. That's what I was doing at the time. But she kept mentioning, why don't you do jiu-jitsu? Because I was, at the time, cycling. I was going through some reactive arthritis issues. But she said, why don't you try jiu-jitsu? Because they've never tried it. We just started getting interested in the UFC. So you should try jiu-jitsu. My husband owned a gym just down the road and he's a world champion. He's the best. I've got.
He's a world champion. He's the best.
She always talks about it.
Ultimate hype person. That's
it was
good.
that. Then I heard Immersion had just started 6 months prior to me starting. I think it was. So not too long earlier. I've gone perfect. It's just down the road. I can get in. I had to then convince my wife to change gyms. In my head, I've gone, that's the place for me to train. They've got a better kids training facility there. They've got actual jiu-jitsu training, which is what I want them to do. Because if you hit a kid at primary school, you're going to get in serious trouble, whereas jiu-jitsu, you can control a kid and be fine. Nothing's happened. You might strangle choke him out, but they'll be fine. That's the worst that can happen. There's not going to be a black eye or blood going everywhere. But yeah, it was the funny Sarah story that Lee didn't know about the first few months.
I just found
no
out
idea.
like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, a month
Really?
ago, yeah.
Sarah's gone, oh, hi, Nathan. I've gone.
That's so
No,
funny.
it's out now.
That's so funny. That's so good. It's
Totally
funny. I reckon that happens a bit though.
blindsided.
Like,
Small circles.
it's small circle, man. Yeah, that happens a lot. Like people come in. I strangely have people sometimes like come in. They're like, I've heard your name somewhere before, and it turns out like some roundabout way they know my dad or something weird. Or man, it's really small world how it all happens, and people seem to know people. And I mean, just recently we had one of the coaches start a Muay Thai coach Rumin, and it turns out, and I didn't realize this time, but he knows you and your brother
From
from
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu, like
Yeah.
ages, like a long time
He
ago.
would have been like a little kid, maybe like 8 years old.
He still remembers. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Like it's crazy how these things happen. It happens all the time and in the weirdest ways. And you're like, yeah, it's just a small community, and that's probably one of the cool things about jiu-jitsu is like, it's like a fight club, obviously, but what's that? The Simpsons thing, like the stone cutters. Have you seen? I think like they have the secret
Stone
ring.
masons?
Is it, no. I think in the Simpsons they have like call them the stone cutters or something, and they have like special rings that they wear, and they can use them to like. They go to like a vending machine, they want like a free drink, and they like insert their ring, and they get like a free drink. It's like a secret society, right? And they have all these things. So it's a little bit like that sometimes. It's weird.
But it is different to any other sports. If I go from my experience, I've not felt the same about, I suppose, a group or a team, such as Immersion compared to the old football days, or athletics days was similar, but that's an individual sport, even though you can be part of a team. Is that what you guys find with yourselves, but the guys coming through Immersion?
Yeah. I think for sure it's a bonding thing, right? Like jiu-jitsu is probably jiu-jitsu out of all of them, and it might be all grappling martial arts. I don't know, but jiu-jitsu especially is like people just bond so much, and it's probably and I don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with like the fact that
Pajamas hugging each
yeah, and you rock up in your pajamas and you like squash each other and stuff, and maybe that's it. And you're holding, you kind of like trust the other guy to like let go when you tap and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, for some reason, I think it's the struggle, the joint struggle of trying to go through something together, and you kind of just do, using each other to get better. I don't know what it is. What do you reckon? Like,
well, I don't think it's easy, right? For a white belt, come in, get smashed. It's not like it's. I mean, there's different types of gym, but at our gym, it's from the get go, it's not easy, and I reckon you just end up building, really good relationships because you're both struggling so much in this place where you're just trying to learn, and you're just trying to latch on to people that are feeling the same way, and
it's like you got a mutual feel like, man, are you struggling? Yeah, is it hard for you? Yeah, it's hard for me. Like, but no one really says that. Everyone's kind of like, no, I'm all good, and not meanwhile they're like dying on the side, right? And like trying to act tough, but in the inside we're all dying a little bit. But I think it is. It's like that mutual struggle, like the joint struggle, like, and you're working together. Like your job is to try and kill each other, but at the same time you're teammates and you're trying to help each other and look after each other, and you don't want to hurt them, but you want to hurt them. Like, it's this weird thing that happens. I don't know, maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I think just you have highs. Well, actually, one thing I have thought about with it is like a jiu-jitsu round, or a jiu-jitsu class or a bunch of rolling. It's kind of like a really compressed sometimes version. Like you compress a whole bunch of emotions into like 5 or 10 minutes. It's like you get to experience, like, maybe for some people, like you get that anxiety at the start. Like, some people get like a bit of an adrenaline rush, or they get a bit G'd up or whatever. You go really hard. Like you just decide to like go ham. Some people are a bit more calculated. You're winning and you're like on a high and you're like, I'm freaking awesome. And then the next second I'm losing, I'm getting smashed, I'm getting tapped out, and you feel like crap. And I don't know, you've kind of sometimes I think you kind of like learn to moderate that over the time, but especially at the start, it's like you get these epic highs and these epic lows, or you're over after a class, and I think maybe it's just because you go through all these emotions in such a small amount of time, where for the majority of people, I think, they sit in an office all day and it's kind of, it's monotonous and it's boring, man. Like they don't feel happy, they don't feel sad, they're just kind of doing their thing, and waiting for the weekend. And this is kind of like, yeah, you're G'd up, you're happy, or you're really sad and you're like really frustrated that guy who you always smash just armbarred you or swept you, and you're, motherfucker. It's that kind of feeling. And maybe it's because you go through all those emotions together. It's like, I mean,
as a white belt, I think you come in feeling a little bit nervous to each class, and I forget about that. Yeah. I come into jiu-jitsu like I'm, just going into any other room. I don't feel anything really, but I think at the start, when you first start doing it, you're a little bit anxious. Like, am I going to get hurt tonight? Am I going to get beaten? Because no one wants to lose in a fight. Right?
No one likes losing.
And at the start, when you start training, it's a fight. It's not a sport. You're doing it to learn how to fight. After a while, it becomes a sport. But when it's still in that fight, in your mind, it's a fight. I think you have a little bit of anxiety before you go training. Oh, and as coaches, we forget about that sometimes. Well, I do.
Right? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I've spoken to people who, they don't show up for a class sometime, and some people, they just, you never get to speak to them again. They just disappear. But every now and then you get like someone who comes back and they start training. And you're like, man, I spoke to you like a year ago. Like, what happened? Like you booked in, you never showed up. And I'd be like, I got there, I just sat in the car park in my car, and I was just like too anxious. I was too scared. I like just couldn't come in. They just go home. You know what I mean? And that's really common. That's even people who train consistently. Like I know people that train with us, who train like 2-3 times a week, and they have days like that where they just come in, they sit in the car park, and they just like freak out. And it's not because I don't know. Like, I don't want to guess why and everything, but I don't want to say like it's because the class is like savage and you're going to come get like, I don't want to make it sound like we're having like some, massive thing where people are getting beat up, but yeah, it's like, it's obviously a safe place, but people like in their minds like build it up to be this big thing. And I think like you said, it's like at the start, it definitely feels more like that. As you kind of get on with it, you're like, it's just a game. I'm just going to have some fun with my friends, like whatever. But at the start, you're like, I don't want to lose. I want to smash some dudes. Yeah.
And you get some messages in between from certain people that your, call it arch nemesis, is saying we've got death rolls tonight starting at 6:30, the first roll. We're on.
Yeah. That's when people get like sucked in. Like you you know, people come probably at the start because they want to do like self-defense, they want to do like martial arts and stuff like that, and maybe build confidence. But the reason they stay, like, is what you're saying, is like it's that community, it's that social interaction. Like I think most people, like they just bond, and they're like they make friends, and no one comes to jiu-jitsu, like no one goes to a martial arts class to make friends, but that's just what happens, and I feel like that's what keeps you there. Like, you know, one of the best parts about training at Dominance with Dave and Cam and the guys there was like the culture they created and the community was freaking awesome. You know what I mean? And that's something that really stuck out. Was like I just love hanging around these guys and talking smack, and there's so much banter, and you know, and then we try and kill each other, and then we talk some more smack, and we can go and hang out, and it's good fun, and you know, it keeps you around. Like I think having a good community is like really important. It's what you're saying, like having the guys message you and be like, man, death rolls tonight, like let's go. It's like G'ing each other off, like
Telling each other you're soft.
yeah, that's right.
Tell
Yeah.
the coach you're soft.
Yeah.
Dan Dakic.
Shout out. Yeah.
So you started really together at Dominance. How long ago was that now?
2004?
End of 2004, I think.
I think
September.
it was around there.
I joined up in October 2004, I think. Something like
It's
that.
2003 or 4, somewhere in there. 'Cause I know I started after. It'd be probably, I think you're at 2004. Because it was after VC I started.
I think I saw a post where a lot of you guys, black belts now, have been there that same timeline. The Murray Ballendons, who started with you guys at Dominance back then.
He
guys
was
still
before
continue?
us. He's
Yeah.
like the next
Before that.
generation.
He was a gen
before
like
us.
before us, right? Yeah. Muzz was a beast, man. Muzz is like,
Muzz crushed everyone.
Muzz destroyed everybody. That guy is a beast. Like he was, yeah. I remember like, what was it, like Pam packs and stuff like that, bring out like these Brazilian dudes, you know, from overseas, like, you know, and you're like, oh shit, like black belt, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belt, like, this is awesome. Like, oh, can't wait to see this match. And Murray would just like obliterate everyone. Like he was incredible. Yeah, but shout out to Muzz. That guy's he's a beast, man. He just kick everyone's ass.
So you're saying would it be a 2-on-1 with Murray? You guys against Murray that would work?
I think we could, if it was two of us, I reckon we could take him. Solo.
You just got to survive the first 4 minutes with Murray until his energy dies down, and then you got to go get him.
I'm not going to talk any smack to Murray publicly. I don't want to.
Otherwise,
Gotta
he would
come
just,
back.
he would
I don't
just
want none
bend you
of
and break you.
Wouldn't be much fun at all, no.
Yeah, no, Muzz was a gen before us.
Yeah, I think I haven't had too many privates, but I did get a private off Muzz because I was like, what is this guy doing? He needs some of this magic needs to rub off on me. So I remember getting a private off. I didn't have any money back then because I was just doing uni and work, and yeah, so that he deserved my cash.
So when did you decide to start up your own gym, start up an Immersion and Glen Waverley?
It's 2010, was it? 2000. Oh shit.
That when we decided. When did we
2012?
we started in 2012, I think.
2012.
Mid 2012. When did we decide to like
To kickstart
to do it? Like what was the thing? Do you remember?
I think you just get to a point in your jiu-jitsu where I think you just want to branch out and start to do your own thing. I think that's what happens to most people. We were brown belts.
Well, brown belts, yeah.
Yeah.
The only image I remember in my head is like me sitting on my bed while I was living at my dad's place, like playing around with like trying to come up with names for gyms and stuff, and like tossing around ideas, and you know, made like a sheet, like okay, like how do I want the culture to be, and how do I want this to be? You know, you come up with like all these kind of like, you know, what would the timetable look like? You just start like tinkering down and like writing down notes, and yeah, I've got a terrible memory.
And I think I mostly rolled with Mini anyway, so the training didn't change too much for us at that point in time.
Yeah, we pretty much just slayed each other every day.
And I was living out that way, and it's just going to be more convenient because Dominance was like in Richmond. So if you've been to Richmond at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock
Forget about it.
at night, it's not good. And so it's just going to be a lot easier for us to get the training done. And we just wanted to create something, I think.
I remember like when we were toying around with like, we're like looking at the rent amounts and we're like, all right, well, man, if this doesn't work out, like, all right, we're going to have our own kind of private training facility. Can we afford to like just, you know, we can do that for like 5 years or 3 years or whatever it was. Like we're going to have this place until they like, can release it. But if it doesn't work out, at least I suppose we got a place where we can do like some training. That's cool. But yeah, I think the timeline was, were you working or you were working, studying, doing a bunch of stuff? Did you just?
No, I was working at the health stores.
Yeah, you had GNC.
Yeah.
And then you had Mia before or As just after we started? It was really early. I've got pictures of like Mia running around the mat. Like when we just started.
Yeah, it would have been.
Would have been about that time.
Yeah. Would have been.
That's scary. Kid in a new business. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Would have been. So then the decision to open up a second gym at Ringwood, is that for more growth, to be closer to home for Lee, or a bit of both?
I think it's just growth, man. I think we're kind of like getting quite, it's one of those things where we're probably getting comfortable, maybe. We're getting comfortable.
Yeah,
and it's busy but comfortable, and it's like.
And I got out of the health stores too, so I was available.
Well, yeah.
And I wanted to do jiu-jitsu full time. Actually, I wanted to do jiu-jitsu full time for a long time, but I just couldn't do it. So I just had to keep those other businesses running and then be able to get, you know, like sell them off. But I was probably wanting to do it for like maybe 3 or 4 years. And that's how long it took until I could, you know, do jiu-jitsu full time. And that's when we opened up Ringwood. But I think we were looking for spaces for at least 2 years.
It takes
trying
ages,
to find
man.
a spot.
Finding good spaces is like really, really hard. I mean, people think it. We think it matters, but yeah, finding like good spots is like it's very difficult. And I think people don't remember like, or people don't realize like when we opened, like yeah, Lee had other businesses, like, you know, he's still running, you know, your health shops, and when we first opened, I was still working, so I was like. You know, I ended up being able to work remotely for my work, and I'd like have my laptop like on the side with my phone, and like I'm teaching like a lunch class, and my freaking work phone's ringing from over there, and it's like, you know, you're trying to like multitask, and
I'd be out of the house at like, you know, like 7:30 a.m.
You have massive
going
days.
to work, and then I'd go home, see the kids for like half an hour, and then I'd be off to jiu-jitsu teaching and doing that, and then get home at like 11, and I was like, man, I can't do this. I don't even see my kids anymore. So I was like, all right, I need to just do jiu-jitsu, so at least, you know, I can be there more and just have more time, because I was just burning myself out.
You were so busy, yeah. You did so much stuff.
Just silly. So it's good now. I'm loving it. I love teaching jiu-jitsu. That's all I want to do.
We got what? How many sessions do we have a week now at both places?
6 days, 6 or 7 days a week at Ringwood,
and then doubles on a Tuesday, Thursday.
Man, it's training every day, twice a day, basically.
pretty much. If you wanted, yeah, almost for everything
jiu-jitsu.
is twice a day training, and sometimes some days like there's some days it's 3 days now.
Yes,
So like at Glen, because there's like 6 a.m. classes. You can do 6 a.m. jiu-jitsu. You can come train at lunchtime. You can come do nighttime. You can do a pro class at 5. Like, yeah, you can get a lot of training in now. So
how many people are doing all the sessions?
All
Like
the-
95% of the sessions.
all the, like, say, all the jiu-jitsu set, like one of like all jiu-jitsu, or just like you saying like jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, like they're just going crazy.
Or guys
Or
that do
jigs.
like at least 8 to 10. So like the professional guys kind of thing.
The good guys, yeah.
The good guys.
Well, how
Yeah,
much-
the
how
good
many-
guys will do 8 to 10, I reckon.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I would say 8
Like
to 10 sessions.
8 to 10.
They'll do like if
You
it's
got to
like
do
a
8 to 10.
5. They'll do like maybe a 5 to 6 class, or 4:30 to 6 class, which is kind of like a pro training kind of, you know, which is, when I say pro training, it's very kind of self-guided kind of training, but like pro training kind of session, then a 6 till 7:30 class. So they're doing like a ton of training like that day, and then they'll do it again every day pretty much. And some guys will go from like, you know, they'll do a class at Glennie, and then they'll drive down and do a class at Ringwood, or vice versa. Like, man, the dudes just love it. Like, some of the guys just freaking love it, and they just train all the freaking time, which is awesome. And they get good, which, you know, people can't figure out, like, oh, how did you get so good? Like, man, they just train really freaking
Just got
hard.
to do the hard work.
Yeah,
Right?
they just train really hard.
People coming, like, they've got all these goals and what they want to do and they want to get good, but they don't put in the work. Like,
I want to train once a week.
How's it going to happen? Like, how is it going to happen? It's not going to happen.
That's not
Don't even talk to me about it.
Dude, it's not that you'd be amazed. It's not that uncommon. Like people come in, they're like, oh, I want to lose some weight. I want to get really good. Like I'd love to do like a fight and all stuff. Like yeah, cool. Sounds awesome. I want to train just like once, maybe twice a week. Like what can you guys do? You know, it's like not much, to be honest.
It's every day, nearly twice a day, at least.
Yeah, and that's assuming you want to be like really, you want to get good. Like, if you and there's different people. Like if you just want doing it for fun, for hobby, for stress relief, for what people do it for different reasons, and there's no dramas. Like that's completely cool. If you enjoy once, twice a week, do it. Like if you're having a good time, awesome. The main thing is you're enjoying it, right? Like have fun. But if you have a goal of like, I want to get good and I want to do this competition or I want to achieve that, like, man, you're gonna have to do some work, and you know that. Like it's not all fun. There's a bit when I say bit, there's a lot of grinding in there. It's like, man, I don't really want to train today. Like I'd rather sit at home and eat a pizza or sleep in or whatever. And you just gotta get out there and just do the work. So
like you said before, it's almost that up and down the grind. You've had good days, bad days,
absolutely.
Good weeks, bad weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're just sitting going, what am I doing? And then one day all clicks into place.
Yeah.
Magic.
I feel like it's very rare that I come in like raring to go. Like, man, I just want to train. I come in going, oh man, all right, let's do this. But you take a few days off and you miss it so much. So
yeah, and you get back out there.
That's it. Man. When you're out there, like it's true. Like I remember when I was doing it at the start, and I sometimes needed to like the motivation. Like the promise I made myself was always like, I'm just gonna show up. Like the deal is, I'm gonna show up to all these classes that I chose, and I'll put my gear on. And if I feel like I don't want to train after that, I'll take my gear off and go home. And never once like took my gear off and went home. Like every time, by the time I got there, put my gear on, I was like, let's go, man. But second you walk in the door and everyone's like, what up? And talking smack to you, you're in. Like, there's no leaving that point. It's just kind of like, you need to learn to, well, like, if you're struggling maybe with that motivation thing, maybe it's just like, you got to find a way to like manipulate yourself to like go and do the work. You got to know what your buttons are and press your own buttons to like go and do the work. And,
just turn up. You'll be fine. Like you'll get through it. So some days like you might be really trashed, and they're the days you find out positions where can I just not die today? Can I like you might never do 50-50, but today you're doing it because you can just hold the guy there and survive the match, right? So I think you come in with different energy levels. It's good for your training. Some days you're aggressive and you got energy and you're on top and left, right, moving a lot. Other days you're just dead. And then, I feel like the days that you're feeling really bad and you do jiu-jitsu, that's your true jiu-jitsu. When you got nothing, right? You got nothing. You got no energy. You feel like you don't want to be there, but you do it and you get it done and you survive. I feel like that's my real jiu-jitsu. That's as bad as it's going to get. So that's my baseline. And then from there, it can only get better.
That's the worst it could be. Be happy afterwards. Good. Yeah. But do you find going to, how often do you go to other gyms and train at other gyms outside Immersion or even Dominance?
These days, not as much.
Not much. I'd like to, but it's just hard with timing, especially if you're teaching all the time.
All the guys that we'd normally train with, they're running their gyms, and at the same time we're doing our things, and it just kind of works out that that's kind of awkward because the times that we all would train are the times that we're teaching instead now, and we kind of just do our training with our students and each other.
Pretty good too.
Yeah.
Some of them mess me up sometimes, so it's like I've got my hands full already.
They're crafty cats. But we still like get to catch up every now and then, like with other guys and other gyms, but. Well, I think we're very lucky in that we've got a really solid team now. We built up a really solid team and attracted some really good guys, and we get really good training. Like I don't feel like I'm missing out by not going anywhere. Like, do you?
No, I go overseas a lot and I train, and I still reckon I train just as good here, if not better.
Yep.
So I don't feel like we're missing out at all. The more I go overseas, the more I realize that the training's pretty good.
Yeah. I think that's back in it used to be like, oh man, I have to train overseas. You'd go and you're going to do like, people still do this, which which, you know, I get why people do it maybe, but they want to go do the world championship. They're going to go do the worlds, or they're going to go do US or do some comp overseas. And their plan is always like, oh yeah, I'll go over there. I'll do like a 2-week training camp before this comp. And, you know, that'll get me ready. And then I'll go like, no, like I've always found the training, I don't enjoy that training as much, and I don't feel like I get as much out of it as I do like, and this is even when we're training like at Dominance with the guys, like I always enjoyed just my normal training environment. I like my routine, you know, you can eat what you want to eat. The guys are good. The training's good. Like, yeah, I've always kind of enjoyed that. And I still find that true even more now is like, I don't feel like I need to go do a camp or something overseas. Doesn't mean don't go and learn, of course. But I think the training is good. And a lot of us do still kind of like all the gym, we still like get to sneak around and catch up and train and stuff. So
yeah, providing you got good guys to train with, you can't get good by training with bad people. You got to train with the best you can find.
Yeah, you still got to train with
guys. I do, yeah.
So the level now in the gym is you know, right up there. So I don't have a problem.
And maybe it's once you get like you get a certain level of guys who are also keen and they want to learn and grow. It kind of just becomes like self-perpetuating kind of thing. Like they're getting good, they're learning, growing, they're teaching you, you're teaching them. And it just becomes this like cycle of like, you just get all good together and all get better together. You know, as a coach, like it's nice to not have to always be the ones like,
I just learned off my purple belts.
That's right, man. Yeah,
it's always the purple belts.
People look at it and they're like, oh, you're the guys, you have all the answers. Like, no, man, don't have all the answers. Like, we're still students of the game too. Like, we love learning. Like, let's go. And I think it's cool to have other guys that are equally keen and come in and like show you stuff. And you're like, hey, man, that's really cool. Like, I like what you just did there. Like, show me what you did. And yeah, I mean, you can only do that if you've got good guys that are keen too.
Have you recommended any of your students, this might have been early in the days, to visit other gyms, even just for open mats? Or is that open mat thing a bit of a, you don't know what you're walking into? If you get injured, then that's going to happen?
No, not at all. We've always been super open about it. We encourage people to go
train with other people and then bring back any good stuff.
That's right. Give us the secrets.
Still information.
But they don't. Come back with any good stuff. No, we encourage training. I do not care if they go train anywhere else because I'm not worried about, you know.
Yeah, who cares?
Them, like, you know, I always say to the guys, like, if you need to train somewhere else and you're going to get better training there and you need to do it and it's better for your growth, do it.
Go do it.
I don't want to hold you back.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just like if I was coming up, you know, don't hold me back. You know, help me grow, right? I'll help them grow too. So if they were coming in, like, I don't do a lot of MMA fighting, but if they want to do that and they really want to do that, man, I'd push them over to someone that does it. I'm not the right person, you know, but you see that sometimes, and I don't like it. Like, they hold people back. Yeah, they could be world champions at something, but you know, they don't help them.
Yeah,
I suppose a lot of the stuff that I've read might have been earlier in the day where you didn't want any of your athletes, your students, to go to another gym to be stolen away from you guys. You guys have put all the time into these athletes, and they've walked away for whatever reason.
Some places are like that, man. Like, yeah, some people really feel like, oh, you know, they throw the word family around a lot, and I don't know if I agree with that. It's more of like I think of like team is probably a better word, but yeah, they feel like, oh man, I've invested all this time in you, and then you've gone, and now you're with the enemy. You're giving away all my secrets, which, you know, it's not like that. With the internet and everything, like, there's no secrets. Like, you can go learn from Half of Mendes, Marcel Gordon, right? Like, you can go learn from all those dudes, like, online right now, and, you know, who cares? Like, all the info is out there. Like, go get it. Yeah, I think it's just people who try and hold their students and keep them and that's not to say it doesn't feel bad. Like, when you have a guy that, you know, that goes that you've invested a lot of time in, and maybe they're you know, you get, you know, your friends as well, and you build a relationship with, and they end up leaving. Like, it doesn't mean you don't feel sad, but you're not like mad or anything. Like, you know, how dare they come and do that?
Like your kids just walked away from you.
Yeah. But no, I think it's good. It's good for guys to go around and train, and I think people who generally try and, like Lee said, if you should do what's best for your students, and that means if you're not the best coach, or they want to do something that you can't necessarily help them with, you should, as a good coach, go help, you know, guide them to say, like, hey, I'm not the guy, like, go see this guy, or go train here, or go train there. And 100%.
Yeah, I think if you just do the right thing by people, like, you know, everything will work out fine.
Yep.
So we've got Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu, No Gi Gi. Is there? I think there's wrestling. Both gyms, or just Glen Waverley?
We do it at both gyms.
Yeah.
That's on Wednesday nights.
Wednesdays.
We do like no gi and wrestling, and then just rolling at the end. You know, you been there? You on Wednesday nights?
A couple of times.
It's a long class. It's like 2 hours, just non-stop on a Wednesday night.
There's commitments with athletics and committee meetings on the Wednesday nights. It's very hard to get back to. It's funny because I mentioned before about gi and no gi. I think in my head I prefer the no gi. It's just the one night that's really challenging for me to get to. But then I get to a no gi class and go, it's so sweaty. You get in some guy's chest and go, I can't deal with all this sweat. Put the gi on and I'm fine.
I know when I was starting off, I preferred no gi because it's easier. No one's not tying you up in a gi. It's more, you can just kind of move a lot easier, and you can, I think if you're very athletic, it's easier because they can't hold you. You can jump left, right, and do some crazy moves.
100%.
And I was
way more athletic.
Yeah, I was more probably athletic than Dave to start off with because I was.
No, he was. He was a freaking spy.
I was through puberty and he wasn't, right? Yeah, and then I like them both. I definitely need to improve my no-gi heel hook game, I think, after watching Lachlan Giles.
Yeah, Lucky G.
So then you have the kids classes as well. Do you get a lot of interest in the kids classes?
The classes are insane, yeah.
Yeah, Ringwood's pretty busy
Gone
with the kids class. I like the kids classes. I don't even know. It takes off pretty quick. I mean, you're there with your kids.
Yeah.
And Saturdays are like packed.
They are. So the question is a bit of, why would a parent go to a jiu-jitsu class versus, say, a cricket or a football or something else?
Or karate.
Or karate or a Muay Thai or...
No, I think jiu-jitsu for kids is great. You know, they can, like you said, they can use it in the playground. You don't want to teach kids just to hit people, you know, but they use it like whether they're playing footy or rugby, or your kid falls over backwards, and how many times do they hit their head on the concrete when he falls back because they're just weak. So I think jiu-jitsu just gives them that core strength, and they're just probably the best thing, probably injury prevention. You know, they get used to falling down a lot and tumbling around and getting grabbed by the head. And I just think it's going to avoid a lot of injury as a kid playing sports, contact sports, and it's fun, and the kids love it. The kids love grabbing each other.
They do. that they do. They love it. So you just think of the combaction and the kids grabbing their collars. They don't know what they're doing, but they love it.
Yeah, and it's natural for the kids. It's like they do it quite naturally, like wrestling. And it gets trained out of you. How many times does a normal grown adult fall on the ground, just throw themselves onto the ground? Like, when's the last time I saw someone just throw themselves on the ground? Never. So when they do get put on the ground, they hurt themselves. So I think if you just keep that going from a young age, that's probably the best thing you can do.
Yeah, man. There's all that stuff, and of course all the soft skills. You know, all the soft skills, of course, the confidence and being able to deal with difficulty and, you know, push through that. It's the same, you know, for kids and adults. You know, it's the same kind of thing. It's like learning to do that, but learning to do it at a young age is way easier than learning to do it later.
And the bullies get humbled.
The bullies get humbled, yeah.
Yeah. And the people that get bullied get strong. So I feel like it brings people on a level playing field.
Yeah. Man, I was speaking to one of the dads last week, and he was just saying, like, he was so happy. He was beaming. His daughter, who's tiny, she's probably one of the tiniest in the kids' class. She this kid was like bullying her at school. Like, you know, when they got back to school, and she just like took this kid down and was like pinned him down and like waited for the teacher to come and like, you know, tell him off kind of thing. I was like, and dude, he was so happy. Like, he was like, I'm so proud of her. Like, she didn't hurt him. She waited for the teacher to like come and help. She stood up for herself. Like, and you know, I'm so glad that she's got that the confidence to be able to do that now. And And yeah, so there's the soft skills, like that girl's life is, her life's forever changed, from that moment to know that she can do that kind of thing. And her dad, for her dad, it's like knowing that, my daughter's going to stand up for herself, if she feels uncomfortable or feels threatened, like, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, that's the ultimate thing, right? That's, as a parent, I imagine, I'm not a parent, but I imagine that's kind of what you want, is like to know that my kids, like if they get put in a situation, that they're going to stand up for themselves and they're not just going to like go with the flow or just get bullied or get beat up or whatever it is.
Let it happen to them, yeah, you're right.
It gives the kids the confidence.
Yeah, that confidence. So that's probably the big one.
Have you had many parents come in after their kids have been bullied to say you need to help bring them back up from being broken? Or most of preempting that bullying stage, going, I want to make sure they're protecting themselves before that happens?
Most of the ones that I've spoken to, usually it's prevention. It's not that they're getting bullied or anything like that. The majority of prevention, but what about do you speak to?
I reckon we get a few come in that might be getting bullied, and they're coming in, they want to learn something. Not too many, but there's a few. So I always find probably those children at the start, you just probably spend a little bit more time with them because they got less confidence and they're kind of like very withdrawn. But give it a few months and they start to...
It's like they come out of their shell, right?
Yeah. And then suddenly they're changed people. So it's good to see. I love watching that. And same with adults too.
Yeah, we say kids, but I mean adults are not... They're just big kids, man. Like, it's exactly the same thing.
All shy, timid, no self-esteem. Give them 6 months, 3 months, different person. Every time.
Yeah, some of the guys that end up... that you see like a few months later, you're like, man, look at this guy now. He's like over there bantering with these dudes and doing stuff. Like at the start, they're always like shy.
Quiet in the corner.
Yeah, quiet in the corner and keep to themselves and come and go. And yeah, it's cool seeing people like grow like that. And it's, that's pretty rewarding. Like as a coach to see that, like, to have that, you don't think about it like daily. It's only because we're talking about it now, but to know that people are getting that out of it is really, really cool.
Yeah, they lose that fear. I think a lot of the fear is like if they get in a fight, the unknown of the fight, what's going to happen. But if you're fighting every day, there's no unknown. You know what's going to happen. Like the worst thing that can kind of happen. Obviously, we don't punch each other in the face, but you go through that process on a daily basis, then it becomes kind of normal. Naturally, that's right.
Oh, people always say...
So you don't have any fear.
Yeah. Yeah, people always say, man, like, I had this presentation I had to do today, but all I thought of was like, it's not as bad as being stuck under like, Lee's mount or something, right? Like, people say stuff like that. And I'm like, fair enough. Like if that's how you get through it, like awesome. Like
what
people
am I
use
doing
it.
in mount?
What are you
I'm
doing?
just straddling you. What else am I doing?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, adults are just big kids, man.
They are. So I know kids are much easier to train. Talk about big kids and spazzy white belts.
Like yourself.
Like
Spazzy
myself.
white belts.
Yeah.
I do a lot of eyes closed. Turning away.
It's looking away going, I've forgotten the first 2 steps. You've shown me this thing 4 times. So who wants to see it again? Yes, please. And then you show it again. I've gone, go back to our partners, start the drill and go, what was the first step?
I think the difference between adults and kids. Kids, like, you can be there, help them, and try and show them through. Adults, like, you're old enough to, like,
come on,
listen, concentrate, do as I tell you. If you don't, well, just do whatever you want. I'm not going to come around and help you if you're stuffing around.
That's right. You should know better.
That's right.
The funny times when you go through those and just, it always seems to happen to me. Maybe it's me. Maybe there's a few other people, but I love the times when you come out and you give the old rock, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just stop immediately and go, I've just done something so wrong.
Yeah, I'll stop the whole class. Because of Nathan.
You got to give us an impression. What does it sound like when you see that happening?
I'll just be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop the class. Stop the class. Everyone, have a look. No, I don't do that. That's not good.
It does. It does happen.
It does happen.
It's the worst. Because then you get drilled into the fact that it's you doing it, so you do it immediately.
Look, nothing makes you learn quicker than peer pressure. Like everyone watching, you get it right.
And again, just show the class what you've just done.
But the funny thing is sometimes I'll teach something so confusing. I'll come to class, well, not confusing, but difficult for a white belt, I'd say. In my mind, it's difficult for you. And then you do it easily. And then I show you something that's going to be really basic. I'll be like, man, this is easy. They're going to get it easily. Then we're going to roll hard. And dude, we're just stuck doing this basic thing. And
It's the craziest
blowing
thing.
my mind.
Yeah. We talk about this sometimes. Like, man, I showed them like this cool berimbolo. It was like 10 steps, you know, and everyone at the end of class is just rocking it out. And you're like, wow, this is freaking awesome. The guys are so good. And then you teach them like a cross choke or something like a scissor sweep or something so basic.
Collar
and,
choke from closed guard. So.
yeah, something easy like that. And like, how can you guys not do this? Like, what the hell?
And then I go home going, am I a really bad teacher?
you do. You're like,
I go home feeling, is it something I did? Am I doing the wrong thing? I must be doing the wrong thing. I must be teaching him badly.
Have you like done I know I've done this, like stopped, you started down this path of like what you want to do, and then you start trying to get into it, and people like just doing the most random things, and you have to be like, all right, let's just stop this class. We've bitten off more than we can chew. Let's just take this back, and you have to like cut it all back and kind of restart again. I've had to do that a couple of times. And
Well,
stuff.
sometimes you're already down that wormhole and you got to keep going.
You just
You
commit.
gotta,
You reckon just commit?
The car crash is happening. The accident's happening.
Nothing you can do about it.
Just let it happen.
Just let it happen.
All right, let's roll, guys.
That does happen sometimes, but yeah, man. I think
But that's why we try and structure our classes. So this
Yeah.
doesn't happen as much. So you
Yeah.
start off on one topic and we keep going. We don't whip out a flying triangle one day and then you're doing a scissor sweep the next and broom
That's right.
volley the next and back choke the next day. So we
I
try
think the way
and
it's taught is
blend
as well.
you through
Yeah,
the techniques.
that's right. Yeah, I think blending is like
Yeah.
a good way to think about it. It's like it's not like just things that are all unrelated all over the shop. It tries to like take you through a bit of a journey, so it kind of doesn't matter where you kind of drop in. You can just kind of like, just come for the ride, and you'll eventually get a bit of a sequence going. You have a bunch of things that you know that all start from a certain place, and then they lead to the next place, and I think it's a good way. I think the way we do that is good. Like the themed kind of teaching and the blending of techniques is quite good instead of just random things. Because some coaches do that, right? They're like, they'll do. We're gonna do. I've seen players, man, do like 4 or 5 techniques in like one class, and I'll be like, all right, guys, we're gonna do like an armbar, then we're gonna go do a heel hook from 50-50, then we're gonna go do a cross choke from the mount, then we're gonna do like a rolling back take. And sometimes they throw in a knife defense for good fun. And he's like, all right, cool. And they leave it. And the thing that I find the most funny is like, they're always the ones that then go and post it on their Facebook page after. It'll be like, awesome class tonight, guys. We did this. And they list like, 20 techniques. And some people might be like, look at that and like, no, this is freaking awesome. Like they did so much stuff tonight. But I look at it and I'm just like, what the hell did you do tonight? Like, what is that?
They're not going to
5 techniques
remember
done
it,
once
right?
versus 1 technique done 1,000 times.
Yeah, like, and you do this. Like, think about how long it takes for you to. I don't know. It takes me ages. Like, to learn something. Like, you got to just focus on it. And there's details and things you got to pick up. And if you just do like 3 reps of an armbar and then another 2 reps of a triangle and then a takedown over there and something else, it's like, man, it's all you're just going to end up with a whole bunch of things that suck. At least have one thing that you're like, cool, I know if I get to my closed guard now, I can scissor sweep that dude.
Yeah, but on Friday night, when you're with your mates, you can be like, I just did half guard all week, and I just did this knee cut thing, and that's all I did.
That's right.
But
It's
did
not
you like
sexy,
pull his
right?
arm off or Kimura? And the other guy's, no, man, I did rear naked chokes and did a Kimura, heel hook, toe hold.
That's right.
I don't know how to get to him, but I did them.
I don't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, it's a funny thing.
Now, that was the word I was going to use before, themes. Your themes for the week versus, I think I went to the Gracie Academy just to check it out when I was in LA 2 years ago. And they have the whole structure of ticking the boxes for each session. You need to do each, 100, whatever it was, 100 boxes to tick before you get to blue belt. Versus you guys choose your themes per week, per month, and work on those before you move them, but you can actually put it together rather than a box.
And I think they both have merit, to be honest. I like the idea personally of like structure as well. Like I can see the massive benefits of that, and some people really learn really well that way as well.
I think there's a few things that probably may never kind of change. The only reason why I don't like it because things do change.
Yeah.
So maybe the very beginning with the total basics, you can kind of have a box and mark it off.
Yep.
But man, things are changing all the time. Like just my close guard stuff is like totally different. But it's only different because people react in different ways. You know, you're just doing what works, you know, at the moment. And that's going to change.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think at the start, I think having structure is excellent because people come in, they're like, don't know what the hell's going on. And as time goes on, I think the structure kind of fades away and you know, you'll develop a style that suits you and the way you like to wrestle and your personality, and Lee will have his style and I'll have my style. And what you do is probably not going to be the same as what you're learning, you know? Like you're gonna have like a little tangent that goes off, and that's how you like. Maybe you know, like to do triangles. Maybe you like to do arm bars or kumaras or whatever, right? It doesn't matter, but that's
at the moment.
You just you like to flail around and tap out, but like everyone's got their thing that they like to do, and I think at the start it's like you got to like make it nice and broad, and then people just start to kind of narrow in over time on things that they like, and that's completely fine.
Yeah, but in general, I don't like a structure because I feel like, yeah, as Dave said, you might be good at this, and then the other guy's good at that because he's got this body type, that body type. I feel like as long as you can sweep or do a submission from the guard, like, what's your favorite thing to do? You know,
Okay.
I don't think everybody's the same, and you shouldn't treat everybody the same. Everyone's different, and I think when we both
Absolutely.
teach, you know, the funny thing is, whatever you're good at now as a white belt, I guarantee you'll be good at doing that as a black belt, and you're still going to do that 100% because it hasn't changed. It hasn't changed for Dave, and it hasn't really changed for me. Like collar sleeve triangles and omoplatas, right? He's still really good. I don't know what I'm good at yet, but
It's really strong.
but for me, I'd say like just being kind of creative and having really good base and sweeping. Like I'm always kind of good at that.
It's always good at that stuff. Yeah.
So it's like it's never changed. The style never changed.
Yeah. It's kind of like there's like jiu-jitsu, and then there's people kind of like try and force you to like, this is what jiu-jitsu looks like, and you have to do that. But then really what I think maybe what you're saying is like, we're trying to do like, you're trying to make you do your jiu-jitsu. It's jiu-jitsu for you. Like what suits you, what suits your body type, what suits how you like to roll. Like, cool, you like to do that stuff. Let's develop that. Like, let's work on that. And I kind of like that more personally kind of approach than just like, here's a cookie cutter thing you're all now going to do.
Because at the end of the day, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to make you as good as I can make you as fast as I can. That's what I'm trying to do. And that's what you want to do as well. Get as good as quickly as possible. All right. So I'm going to have to use your own attributes to get you that way and not try and force you to do something that's, you know, just because that's what I do.
Yeah.
Like how many times do I actually teach like De La Hiva? Like people be like, man, they come to my gym. I thought I'd just do Berimbolo. I'm like, no, but that's not what you need. I can teach Berimbolo to make myself feel good and show you how good I am at doing it. But it's like, it's not good for you, so I'm not going to do it. But these coaches like that, whether they're good at this and good at that, that's all they show. So,
Yeah. You should be doing the stuff that's the best for your students. You know, you want to make them good. And if you just kind of tug in your own chain to make yourself feel good and show how cool you are at all these awesome techniques, which is usually what happens when you're showing 20 techniques, then you're probably not doing what's in the best interest of your students.
which might be boring for them, but it's good for them. Like
That's
eating
right.
your veggies.
It's not might not be sexy. It might not be sexy, but it will become sexy when you're, smashing everybody and the other guys aren't.
So I think it was a few months ago. I think it was the last competition. A lot of the other competitors were talking to some of the guys around me that Immersion's great at bolos, known for bolos.
I know. We always laugh about that. We've had this chat. Like, I reckon I've done like 2 Bolos ever in competition. Yeah. And people, you're probably the guy, right? Like Tingy's pretty good at that stuff.
I've always seen
he's the bolo
make
lord.
it work.
You're a crafty cat.
I didn't know about Berimbolo. Like, I was a brown belt. I remember Lachlan Giles showed me a Berimbolo.
Lachlan Giles showed us. He was trading for X-Guard secrets.
Late
I remember.
tracks.
In the ring at
Berimbolos.
Dominance.
I always wondered how you make them sit down. Because they do like the Berim, like, 8 years ago, Berimbolo. And you just be like, go around the back and I'd be trying to do it, but how are they going to sit down at Berimbolo? It was like a mystery to me. But managed to make them work in competition. Always like,
I think you follow everybody. You're freaking awesome at stuff.
yeah, I always can make it work. It's just my thing.
It's your thing.
Just your
I feel like I can just do it when I want to do it. When I really want to do it, I can just do it.
Yeah, everyone reckons
So-
like they're just boom bolos only, and people come to like immersion, they roll with the guys, and they're like, oh, a lot of people really do boom bolos, right? Like, there's a few guys like Dan loves to like spin and do that stuff, but everyone kind of just does their own style of
But
jiu-jitsu.
jiu-jitsu now, it's not the berimbolo. It's a very small part of the jiu-jitsu.
Such a small bit, yeah.
Yeah, it's like nowadays, these guys are so good. You don't get to do like a normal berimbolo. You have like 30 transitional exchanges before you get underneath the guy. Like you don't.
Yep.
Like there's so many techniques you got to do, and then whoever just slightly falls behind. So it's a lot. Something more complicated for us now.
Yeah. I think I've always found it funny that people thought that about the gym and thought that, oh yeah, this is the berimbolo guys, and they don't realize like,
We're a bit more than just.
well, there's a bit more going on there, but whatevs.
Yeah, I think just what they see, or maybe they've just.
I think it's what they hear, maybe, or they've seen you do.
Or they just see me do it.
They just see you do
and
it,
then
right?
they just think we do that.
They're not seeing me do it. It's definitely you.
They're just seeing you. Yeah, why don't we notice the omoplata triangle, Jim?
I don't know. I
Just
hit my
submission.
first two
They watch
berimbolos
him,
in
he's
black
just
belt
the
only the
submission
other
gym.
year, so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not just. Man, I rarely teach berimbolo
Yeah, it's pretty rare to actually teach berimbolos.
because it's just so much to learn.
Yeah, the guys who want to do berimbolos, for sure.
Sometimes I do berimbolo because I just want to laugh at.
I was going to bring it up. I was.
Go, Nathan! Get your head under there. But I can't bend. Don't worry about necking yourself.
You wonder, right? Like,
does happen.
how often does it happen? Like, how often do you reckon
That I get stuck
Coaches.
halfway.
coaches like teach stuff just because they want to like have a laugh? Like, they want to see who like does it. Like, do you reckon we've talked about this before? Like, Hafa Mendes, right? Do you reckon like sometimes because he can basically do anything and get away with it. The dude's a wizard. Do you reckon he just sometimes will put out a video and he's like, I'm gonna put this technique out there and you watch, like everyone's gonna like reshare it and think it's the coolest thing ever and
he's
go and
just
start
laughing.
practicing and training it, and he's just made up some random ass thing that he hit on a white belt once, and it probably not. He probably hit it on a black belt, right? Because that's just what he does. But only he could do it. It's like,
And he's
it's so-
just laughing.
and he's just
at home.
laughing. You reckon he just sits there just laughing away? Like, look at these guys. I'm
I
trolling
don't even
them.
know what I did just then. I just pulled it out of the bag and just did it. Then I teach it.
I would have thought a fair bit when I'm coaching athletics. I do very similar things. Obviously, it's a bit different, but you want to see how hard you can push someone, or try a drill that you haven't seen before, or
For sure.
put the kids through it because kids are more adaptable than adults.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching the white belt get caught halfway and go, I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, trying to do the technique? Or,
No, it's terrible. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
you're always testing them out, testing the guys out and seeing where they're at, and just seeing what they need and just give them what they need. And sometimes you just test stuff out, and I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I just don't know. I think maybe like
what
some
was the question?
there's no question. Just bantering.
Doesn't matter. So it was a couple months ago, COVID came around and said everyone's got to shut down immediately. I think you guys sent out a video about 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if you were both extremely tired at the time, but you both looked very scared and worried about what was going to come in the next few months. How was putting that video together without any certainty of the future at all?
It was actually a pretty funny video. And I say that kind of in a weird way because we were
the
doing
most
it
scared.
right. And we're like there and we're just laughing like the whole time. And we're like, why are we laughing about like,
Really bad.
like we're
When
closing
things
our business?
Get so bad, they get funny.
Yeah, it was at
And
that
it was
point
a
where
funny
we just-
moment. And we were doing this thing. We had to be serious, and we're just killing ourselves laughing because we're like, we're gone. We're finished.
Why are we laughing? So
This
fun.
is the end of us. So, no,
Yeah.
it was pretty stressful, but I think everyone was going through it, so we're not the only ones. So
Not alone.
I think it gave us a bit of, I don't know, like you said, we're in with the team. don't feel as bad when everyone's going through it.
Yeah, like just pull each other through. But yeah, man, it was stressful stuff. Like, you know, when they do that kind of thing. And I think the Gov announced it on like Sunday night, and it was something like 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. It's something like that, right? And they just put out this thing like, if you're a gym or something like that, you cannot be open from 12 p.m. tomorrow, I think they said. And yeah, and then what do you do? I mean, you know, our classes, like, you know, there's hundreds of people that come to the facility like every day, and you know, and you got staff and coaches and stuff, and you're like, well, holy shit, like in 12 hours or 18 hours, we're done. We got to shut this thing down, like, and yeah, and then all the other questions that pop up with that is, you know, well, what are we going to do with our stuff? What are we going to do with our memberships? You know, we're just all the kind of, and then all the logistical things that come along with that are like, yeah, like, how are we going to eat? Like, what's the future? You know, you ask all those questions, but yes, it's some stressful stuff, and it's probably just the unpredictability of it all. Like, I think everyone was prepared. Like, you know, there's no question about, like, at the time, the right thing to do would be close, because that's in my opinion, you know, or in our opinion, that's the responsible thing to do, right? Like, we don't know what's going on. We've been told that there's this thing, and all right, let's be responsible. Let's shut it down. The gov says shut it down. Let's do it. But yeah, I think it's just not knowing, like, what's going to happen after that. Like, you know, for 2 weeks, is it for 4 weeks? And then you're like, well, now we're 3 months?
3 months, yeah.
3 months in, and it's like, finally, like, all right, well, now you can open up, and they spread this thing, and it's like, well, with
non-contact.
Yeah, you can't touch each other though, and you know, 2 groups of 10. You know, there's all these restrictions on it. Like,
yeah, we still got to kind of figure it out as we go.
Yeah,
that starts up Monday. So there's some positive news there.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
Non-contact, but there was a July 13th, full contact for 20 people.
Full contact.
Is that right? 20
Yeah,
people?
Yeah. So there's still going to be a limit of maximum
of 20 people, and it's 2 groups of 10 technically. So you're allowed to have a group of 10 people in a class,
but they can't.
But those can't mingle. So you'll have a trainer and 2 classes, and so 20 people in a space. So, but you know, you read the thing, and it's so freaking confusing.
But you know, it changes day to day. Like, you could wake up tomorrow and then it's different.
Yep. 20 new COVID cases tomorrow, and it's like Dan Andrews decides, like, nah, you know
what?
what? Go back. That's right. But
yeah, how many cases were there yesterday?
18, 20, something like that.
Yeah, something
silly.
But a big chunk of them, I think, were like people coming back to the country and stuff.
What,
like
2,500 a week, was it? Something like that.
What,
so
in the
many
world,
people no, coming in from
coming
overseas,
in.
like people coming in.
Yeah,
Like,
no idea.
I didn't know people were traveling that much at the moment.
Wouldn't have thought you would.
Everyone's just trying to get home, maybe. I'm not sure.
Could be.
But yeah, I think a lot of the cases we're getting are they're not community transmission. It's like just people coming back from overseas, and they're just sticking them in hotels, and you know, like 15 will be that, and like 5 will be actual community transmission kind of things, like a school or typical school thing, or an old folks home or something like that. They seem to be the hotbeds for that kind of thing. Schools and aged care homes.
Yeah, we'll see. How did you feel when it was like the lockdown? You couldn't train, and we said we had to close
It was crap.
as a member. What were you thinking?
Well, I was thinking of what are we going to do for the next few months. We were talking about it before it closed down. We're going, how long are you going to shut it down for? Because you can make that decision to shut everything down. How long is that going to last? But we didn't know that you couldn't see anyone, couldn't bring anyone into your own house. You can get mats at your own place, but you can't train with anyone else. That doesn't work out. We had the instance for Little Athletics where we had a state championships the next day, and we were shut down at midday, and we were about to head to Cranbourne to set up for the whole weekend. So we're also telling our 30 kids who qualified for state champs, sorry guys, it's not on.
It's not happening.
We don't know when we're coming back at all for competition or training. And then we've got the restrictions to come back. It's too hard. And we're volunteers, not getting paid. It's too hard to come back to train.
Another way.
Yeah, no, it wasn't much fun. It wasn't much fun back then. But then getting the news that we can come back, it's pretty cool. But then you're going, how many hip escapes and bridges can you do whilst non-contacting anyone for
That's right.
an hour of training?
That's right.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It's the not knowing, right? I think it's like if and how could they know, right? Like, in fairness, like, how could they know? And that's completely fair. But I think for people, I don't know, it's like you got to close down, and then you could do it 4 weeks, and then you do it another couple of weeks. And at that point, at 8 weeks, I feel like people start to get a bit antsy, and they're like, well, what's the plan? Like, what are we going to do? What are the conditions that need to be met for us to start getting back to normal? Like, is it sub 5 community transmissions a week that we're like, or a day that we're like, okay, cool, we can start to ease restrictions now? Like, I think it's probably just a communication mistake maybe, but in fairness, like, everyone's kind of just going with the flow and trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like, no one really knows what's going on. So you just got to kind of roll with it a little bit and, oh, well, today this is a good decision, and I think that's what the Gov was doing as well. They're just getting as much advice as they can and trying to make educated calls and safe calls, and which is fair enough. And yeah, but it's the not knowing part, which is the scariest, or the most frustrating part, I think, for everybody. People want to get back to training. We want to get back to training. Businesses want to open. People want to get back to sport or whatever it is, or people want to go see their friends and family. Like, well, when can we do that? And they're like, we don't have any answers for you yet. That's kind of the part that sucks.
So do you have your speeches ready to go for Monday night? Before training, get everyone lined up, giving the speeches ready. I know you prep all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the nights when you can tell you really don't give Just go, oh, guys, there's nothing on this week. Let's go.
Leave the speech guide.
Is there a Braveheart style, The Rock, finally we're back type of speech ready to go?
On Monday?
Yeah. Minute and a half apart.
There's no jiu-jitsu on Monday. I still got another.
We've got 3 weeks to plan our speech.
Do a Zoom little.
Zoom one.
Finally, we're back.
Well, our plan
for July.
my plan is, because I'm a bit of a night person, is to run a nighttime, midnight jiu-jitsu class on that night when we get to open again. And I put that post up thinking, not reading any of the restrictions when I first put it up. I was like, oh, this will be a cool idea. And then I started reading through the stuff, and there's like been 40 or something people that want to come along to it. And I think it's like 43 when I last looked, and like, shit, 20 people can come and say, I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that yet. I've seen that. It's just kind of sitting there like, it's 3 weeks away. We'll figure that out. So I'm not sure, but yeah, I think that would be really cool, actually. Like, I know, obviously a lot of people want to get back to it, and it might be a cool little, there's not going to be a Braveheart speech there, but I think people will enjoy, like.
We'll be expecting one. Just now that it's out there, we'll be expecting.
I think it's just full on party when we get back.
Yeah.
No teaching. It's like, I think everyone will just want to get in there and throw down.
They just want to throw down, right?
And then when they're all sore, they'll be like, teach me something, please. Nothing's working. I'm like, all right, time to teach. So I think
you're right.
I'm looking forward to it, actually. We still got to figure out
how
classes and timetables, and there's still a lot to figure out. You've got to figure out, obviously the pro training around it as well, and
and then even then it's all kind of temporary, right? Which is kind of the most frustrating part is you got to do all this work, and which sucks. But then I feel like we feel like we're messing around the members. Like, it's not fair on the members as well, because it kind of feels like because we're being a bit all over the place, it's not fair, but it's kind of also not our fault.
We're all over the place because the government's all over the place.
It's because the rules are a bit all over the place. It's like
every day it's different. Like, how are we meant to know? Like, every day could be different for the members as well. Like, we got to just go with the flow.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on. It's a big freaking mess, but we just do the best we can. And I think we've always just tried to do whatever we think is right by the crew and by the team. So we'll just try and do that, and hopefully it's the right call in the end.
I'm sure it will be.
We'll find out.
But July 13th, we're back.
July 13th.
Celebrate.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, midnight. Glen Waverley, don't come because it's already full.
Yeah, it's already booked out.
But think about it. Think about how good it could be if you were
But
there.
we might put a stream so you can feel like you're there.
Well, that's an idea, right? Like, what about this? Like, I was thinking about this. So what if when we do our classes again and we're bringing it back and they're capped at 20 people, but I know everyone's got mats at home at the moment. Everyone's been training with their friends anyway.
That's right.
So
we have a link up.
Yeah. So what if we just stream the class? Like, hey, I know you can't be here because the class is full, but man, grab the guys and train it and come join us. Like, and you can still at least be learning and be growing. And it kind of is a nice way maybe because the classes get pretty busy. I mean, they're huge. So that way we can kind of like everyone can still get good training in and stuff. And maybe the next week it's the different guys, the guys that were on the Zoom thing or whatever it is that week are on the mat, and the other guys like training with their mates. Like, it's not going to obviously be that structure, but in my head, like that would be the ideal world, right? Like, but if we could stream the classes, I think that'd be really cool.
It is an option. It is an option.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Give it there. Well, thanks so much for your time, guys. Thanks for coming on. It's been an honour to have you guys on, and good luck from July 13th.
Thanks,
And
man.
congratulations on your first podcast. It's awesome.
Cheers.
Thanks,